Okay, so I found the file where I had worked ahead and created the stairs. Um, I went ahead and added, and you don't have to do all of the flooring at this time, but at least here in the main room, in like this area here, add a 3/4 inch hardwood floor. And that's all it is. I don't know why some of you folks last semester was adding subfloors and things underneath it, but just do. I don't care if you do oak flooring, cherry flooring, walnut flooring. I don't care what kind of wood you use, but use a flooring material and make it 3/4 of an inch thick. Okay, and then you can do the whole room if you so desire, but we at least need right here around the stairs, and you can always come back and edit that later. Okay, so let's look at my cross section through here because when we're building it, we're going to go basement to first floor level with a top offset of 3/4 inches. That gets me to the top of my finished floor because the height from finished floor down to the first top of the first tread needs to be the same all the way down. Okay, one change from the last video. Oh, edit stairs. Okay, is on my stringers. I changed them. Change the upper end cut to a vertical cut and match level. And then we're going to fill in that void space just because that's the way that Revit does stairs. Okay, so you can see the dimensions that I've got going here with my floor openings and my stairs and stuff. Okay, oh, excuse me, go to find mode. Okay, so 5'6" from the face of my 1.5 inch furring to the beginning of the first riser, and then 10'10" 3/4. That is to the end of the last riser. Okay. Okay. And then let's see. All right. So we'll look. Let me look at that and see here. It leaves me with a little bit of gap right there that. That's kind of weird. It's sometimes it's hard to model things in Revit it, to reflect the way that they're actually built in real life. Anyway, okay. So what I did with this is I just did a component, did a component model in place, and I'll show you what I did. Is I created a sketch. I did it on I did it in my section, so I did it one way and then flipped it the other way. I did it on the surface plane of the stringer, and I did the sketch. Now you could always kind of stop it, or well, we haven't built that yet in this model, so we'll go and finish out with this. So I just kind of matched my geometry here. I had to do a little sketching with, you know, pick pick a line and pick the bottom line here and extended it up and then drew those in and trimmed them out. And then I extruded it 3/4 of an inch back towards the wall. And I applied it the same color materials that I'm using for a lot of my interior things here. I'm using Finishes Interior Paint and Coatings White. Okay, because that's the way I roll, so that's what I'm going to do with it. So I created it on that side, and then I created an identical one on the left side of the stairs. Okay, now the sill nosing, we've got to put that in also, and you could do it on, that surface plane and extrude it back to you, or you could do it in section, extrude both ways, whatever. Okay, and so it's 1 inch thick here, so it has a 1/2 inch radius. Um, I seriously thought I had dimensions on here, but it's 3/4 of an inch thick here. And so it's 3.5 inches overall length total. Okay, and I made that 2 1/4 of an inch. Okay, because that's kind of the sizes that they come when you buy them at the lumber store. Okay, and so I did that. I I chose red oak since my flooring is red oak, and then I extruded it depending upon how you build your sketch, the width of the stairs. Okay, and I'll go back to here, and so there is that stair nosing, and you can see the issue that I've got is that I end up in this space right here with no flooring and no tread nosing. Uh, but if we were to install base trim, the base trim would cover that up. Okay, so sometimes it's hard to model things how we actually would build it in real life. But if we were to have base trim in our model, the base trim would cover most of that up. If not, we could pull it on down and the stringer, either it would be notched around the stringer. It's just a lot of ways to do it. Okay, so you're going to get your stair put in. Okay, you're going to get this little extension on the stringers on both sides. You're going to get your tread nosing put in. And then we want to look at the handrail family. And I copied this one in from that file also. And I did some editing to it. So let's go in here, railing structure. I chose, set the height. You can play with the heights on it here. The profile was pretty good. Wood cherry. Actually, if I'm doing oak with everything, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it there for right now. If we were coordinating colors and types and things, we would deal with that. Now my baluster placement, here's where I want to play. I just stuck with the colonial 1.5 so you can see my measurements across here. If any are changed. Okay, down here, I do not have a start post because when I drew this, when I created it, I started it at the wall and then came out toward the center of the room. So I have no start post, no corner post, but I have an end post, and I use the 4 1/4 newel. I pull the top down 4 inches because it is kind of tall. Okay. And I think I think all those settings there are good. Let's see here. I think everything is good here. No handrails. Okay, so all that is good. And that gives me this guardrail right here that's coming out. And let's look at our first floor. This is it right here. Okay, and I didn't want it aligned right with the edge of the wall. I wanted it back in a little bit. We may move it or edit our handrail here because our handrail here, it's the same one that we used last semester. We've making a few changes so that we get a return against the wall down here at the bottom, and we get a return against the post up here. So we do have some editing that we're going to do with that, but basically it's the same one that we used last semester. Okay, so let's look at our edits on it. Nothing there. Baluster, no regular balusters, no corner posties, things like that. Okay. All right. And so this one, we get into our stuff here. And I chose the pipe wall mount. And when I go into that, miter, the clearance, the heights, these kinds of things here. I haven't set materials on this yet. I should, I guess. We'll look at that a little bit. Okay, but extension time will be wall, and I set a 3-inch extension at the beginning, 3 inches at the top. Seems to work pretty good. And the supports right here are the little brackets underneath. Okay. And that seems to be good for that kind of stuff. Okay, now what this is doing is we're having to play with the length of these things. Okay, let me go to first floor. You may have to play with your path so that you will have to play with your path so that the return comes into our newel post here, and it goes far enough down on the bottom side so that it's, somewhere close to the front of the stairs. You may have to go over a little bit, whatever. But it's just kind of playing around with it. Now the uh, uh, well, okay. So I'm trying to edit those. My mind just went blank on me. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a bracket floating up here that we've got to deal with. Trying to think, do I have that pinned? Anyway, I had to play with that to get rid of an additional one. And you can see the end of it needs to return back into the center of that. So you just play with those offset distances that I had given you. And it stops based on the wall, the offset from the wall. So if you were to look at it from this end, it's not attached to that newel post. Basement, is it attached at the basement? Let's see. Yes, so you can see here it is attached to the wall. So what I would have to do is move I would have to move this railing over to get it to attach there. And the only way to okay. And I'm not sure how that's going to look in my floor plan. Might be too close. I don't know. Let's move this section down a little more so I can see it in the stairs. Well, that's pretty close. I guess that would work. Yeah, that'd work okay. Because it would be unusual for these to be joined right into the floor system. There'd be a trim board underneath there anyway. Okay, so that would work for that. Okay. I still got to figure out what the heck's going on with that newel post. I'll deal with it and let you know something. Okay, so there's stairs. Floors, let's see, what else have I got scheduled for this week? Stairs and handrails. That's pretty good, I think. A couple of things we need to do now that we've got pretty much everything in place where we want it is start putting in our finalized dimensions, so that get our dimensions the way we want them to show up in our drawing. Um, all of your door dimensions, of course, can be hidden. Okay, but get your wall, door, and window dimensions and things in so that they're visible and can be seen right for both your floor plan and your basement plan. Mine are on top of foundation plan, so I would add them to here so that we can see what the heck's going on with the things, okay?